Will of Iron.
Good on you. All right. Thanks, Michael. Talk soon. You're listening to Life Matters with Amanda Smith. So you've got a new baby in the house. You know, sleepless nights and those strange special little rituals you develop for getting the baby to sleep. You know their smell and their smile. You watch them learn to sit up and to stand and to walk. Now imagine that you have to give this baby away because it's not technically yours. You're a foster parent and ultimately the baby is bound for another home. Jason Johnston knows this scenario well. He and his wife Rochelle have 3 biological children and they've fostered 9 babies over the past 4 years. Jason, first of all, tell me, why did you and your wife decide to become foster parents?
Good morning, Amanda. Look, my wife and I, we love babies. We just, we just love the fact that, they're with you all the time, that, they're small, they're bundles of joys, that we just love babies. And, we had 3 healthy kids of our own. And, we did toss up about having a 4th one, but then a friend of ours mentioned foster caring, and we did a bit of research and decided that, that was for us. It was a good way of helping the community, so we thought that we'd start the journey to become foster carers.
Well, now, I know that we need to be careful not to reveal the identity of any of these children, but can you tell me about some of the circumstances behind the babies ending up in your care?
Look, most of them are from families where drug and alcohol are problems. Some of them have come to us where there's been domestic violence, and we've had a baby come to us whose parent had mental issues. So they come from a wide range of problem homes.
And that means, I presume, that they need special care. I mean, particularly, say, with the babies who come from parents with drug dependence. Does that mean they're not in great health, that they're perhaps born with substance addiction?
Absolutely, that is correct. So the majority of the babies that we get through drug addiction with the parents are born with the drug addiction in their system. And, working with the hospital neonatal people, we work to get them off that drug dependency. And it's horrible to watch a 4 or 5 day old baby screaming because he or she doesn't understand that the body is craving for what the mother or what the mother was having while she was pregnant. So, yeah, look, it's not nice to watch, but once they come through the other end and they're healthy babies, that's the rainbow, the gold at the end of the rainbow for my wife and myself.
So this is really crisis care that you're doing. Now, for many people, I think the idea of caring for a baby for just a few months and then handing them on, it's something that, well, I mean, it really catches at your heart, actually. How do you, Jason, hand them over? How do you give them so much love and care, all this that you've invested in them, and then say goodbye?
You know what, we get that question quite often when we talk to people about crisis care and foster care. And, the first one that we had, he was with us for 14 months. We watched him crawl, walk. We weaned him. He called me Dad. He called my wife Mum. But, when it was time to go, yes, we were pretty devastated. But at the end of the day, there are other little babies out there that need this type of support and help. And, that's what gets you through, knowing that that baby that's left your care has left healthier, has grown, has come into a loving family and left to go to another loving family. That's what does it for my wife and myself.
So your commitment is really to care for a number of babies, to do that community service.
That is correct. That's right. Absolutely correct. And, that's what we want to do. We want to ensure that these little babies that really need help, that need a stable family, get the best that they can get from us, and that gives them a good start in their life.
And how do your three children, your three biological children, feel about you and your wife being foster parents, about having this succession of babies in the family temporarily?
Without our three children, we wouldn't be able to do this. Whenever we are ready for a new baby and we get told that we have a baby coming into our care, before we accept the baby into our home, we always sit down with our children, our three children, and we talk about, what the baby is bringing with them, what complications, and we ask them, is this something that you're ready to do? Are you ready to bring another baby into our house? And they've never said no. Talking to their teachers at school, they've become very caring and compassionate students at the local school. And it's really, really, really good that they can see that there are people or babies that are less fortunate than us that need our help, and we're able to provide that help to them.
So you're saying you think it's helped them develop a greater empathy, caring for others attitude, and that's apparent in the school?
Absolutely. Every parent-teacher interview we have, or even in just general conversations with their teachers, that's the feedback we get constantly about our children, that they're very caring and compassionate kids. And basically, they keep saying hats off to us. But, I think it's the whole process. I think that the kids really get to see the whole process from start to end. And, hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll make them better human beings as they get on in life as well.
Do your own children, get attached, though?
Absolutely. My daughter, she's just like another mother to these kids. Yeah, absolutely. The first one, when he left, my oldest son, he was absolutely devastated, and we sat down with him for a couple of days after it, and we just explained to him that, he's just gone on to something bigger and better, and, there is another baby in the wings, and, these babies need our help. So it does get easier.
That's an interesting and hard lesson for a child, I would have thought.
Absolutely it is, absolutely. Look, the good thing is that, and my wife and I don't go out actively trying to get feedback from the parents that take them on in the long-term care or if they get adopted out. But, whenever we get photos from the parents that these kids have gone on to, we always share them with our kids. We always show them, look what he's doing now. Look, he's starting school tomorrow. Doesn't he look cute in his school uniform, for instance? So we always try and give our kids that constant feedback to let them know that these kids are alive, they're healthy, they're well, and they're thriving in their new homes.
This is Life Matters with Amanda Smith and Jason Johnston, who, along with his wife Rochelle, has been a foster parent so far for 9 babies over the past 4 years at their home in the Sutherland Shire in New South Wales. Jason, what are the logistics of becoming a foster parent? How do you become one? How are you deemed suitable?
So for us, our journey started with a web inquiry on the Barnardos website.
And that's the charity that...
Absolutely, that's correct, yeah. They're a charity that have been working with children for over 130 years. So we decided that we would go with Barnardos. So again, we just did a web inquiry. We received a phone call from Barnardos a couple of days later, and they sent us an information pack out, which we filled out and sent back. Once we had done that, Barnardos then got in contact with us, and it was, I think from memory, it was about a 12 to 14 month process where they come out and they interview us, they do background checks, police checks, they interviewed our children, they interviewed our friends, our family, and that whole process took, like I said, about 12 to 14 months. That's just to ensure that we're suitable candidates to become foster carers. And once we got signed off as foster carers, we did some training with Barnardos about what to expect. For instance, when we have a narc baby or a drug-dependent baby or a mental health baby, or they give us a lot of training to try and support us going through that, as well as one-on-one support with your caseworker. So we have a very good relationship with our Barnardos caseworkers. They're like our family. So if we've got problems with our children, for instance, we can ring Barnardos and they'll come out and we'll have a family chat and work through it together as a family. So, Barnardos did say to us when we did sign up to be foster carers, that once you're a Barnardos foster carers, we've got a bigger family, and that's just so true. The other carers, the caseworkers, we're just all big one family trying to do the best we can for these kids that are in crisis care.
So tell me, Jason, how is the baby you're currently looking after doing?
She's doing really, really well. So she was born 6 weeks premature. She was drug dependent. She weighed 1.3 kilos. She was so tiny. She's now a thriving bub who's, from memory, around 4 or 5 kilos. She's starting to meet her milestones, so starting to smile, talk, trying to roll. She's put on weight. She just looks really, really healthy. I was sitting on the lounge with her last night, just nursing her, and it's just a smile. When you get that smile from a baby, it just gives you that nice warm feeling that you're doing the right thing, and this baby, this child, is destined for bigger and better things.
Well, she, like your other babies, will go on to other foster parents, or they'll be adopted. Is it ever possible for these babies to go back to their biological parents?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, all through the process of a child being placed with you or with us, they always have constant contact with their parents. For instance, my wife will probably be listening to this, travelling to the meet with the parents this morning. So they always have constant contact with their parents, relatives, and if the parents are deemed fit to take the child back, then by all means the child goes back to the parent. We've had, from memory, we've had one go back to relatives, we've had one almost go back to his parents. It's just unfortunate they stumbled at the last minute. So, there's support, there's help, and the parents, look, it can be a little bit hostile at the beginning when the parents see you with their baby, but once they understand that you're there to help them, to get over their addiction, to get through whatever they need to get through so they can get their baby back, and they can see that the baby's cared for like if it was your own, then, the anger goes away, and they start working towards getting their child back.
So when it comes time for you and your wife and children to say goodbye to a baby, is there anything, I don't know, special you do? Do you do anything that will help you remember them?
Oh, look, for our first one, we do different things for all the children. So the first one, because he was 14 months old, or 13 months old, we actually threw him a first birthday party. We had a jumping castle, we had all our friends come over, and we threw him the biggest party that a one-year-old could ever want. So, that was our way of saying goodbye to that young baby. We might go for a picnic, we might go for a walk down the beach, we might, we do something with the kids so they can enjoy the last couple of moments with the babies before they go on to their next journey.
Do you keep photo albums of the babies?
Absolutely. So with Barnardos, we take a lot of photos with the kids. We actually make photo books up for them, and we give one to Barnardos, and we keep one ourselves. Now the one that goes to Barnardos is actually kept on record there. So if the baby ever wants to know what their life journey was when they were a baby, they can actually contact Barnardos, and that'll be there on their record for them to have a look at the photos. But absolutely, we've got a photo book for all the kids that we've kept in care.
So, Jason, do you have any advice you can offer to other people who might be thinking about becoming a foster parent in the way you have, this sort of crisis care, looking after babies temporarily and then handing them on?
Absolutely. Look, Amanda, if people can find it in their hearts to open their house up to a foster baby, it's the most rewarding experience that you can ever do. It's just, every baby that comes through our house, it's just really good to see them thrive. And, foster caring isn't a full-time role. There are all different types of foster caring you can do. You can do respite care, for instance, where you just have the babies over the weekend. Foster caring can be from 1 month to 2 years. There's a really strong support network there for people who want to take it up to be able to do it. yes, the hardest thing is having to give them back, but if you can understand that they're going on to bigger and better things, and like I said, if you can open your heart in your home to a foster baby, it's the most rewarding thing that you can ever do.
And Jason Johnston and his wife Rochelle have been crisis care foster parents for the past 4 years. They've cared for 9 babies over that time, along with their 3 biological kids who they haven't handed on. Jason, I think it's a wonderful thing to do. All the very best to you all.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for your time.
This is Life Matters with Amanda Smith.
This is Richard Cornish.
I was visiting some nuns in Spain.
He's back and popping in to Blueprint for Living.
A little bit of salt is added along the way.
Richard